무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다.
너 움직였어. 너 걸렸어. 일로 와, 일로 와, 일로 와.
To make it stronger, so we make like steams from our mouths, like and we rubbed on our bodies to make it harder. But honestly, that doesn't work at all. So it's just. 띵띵띵 띵띵띵 띵띵띵띵. 음이 좀 다른 것 같은데. Anyways, welcome back to the channel, Donaya, guys. I think you've watched the Squid Game season 3 on Netflix, right? So I wanna introduce some games in Squid Game that I played when I was young and I really liked. There are like 12, 13, or 40 games in Squid Game from season 1 to season 3, but I'm not gonna introduce everything. I'm gonna introduce 6 or 7, 5. I'm gonna introduce top 5 games I played when I was young and I really liked. Let's begin. The first game, that is also the first game you've ever watched in Squid Game from all games in the Squid Game, because this is the game that recruiters played in the subway or on the street to recruit people for the Squid Game, called 딱지치기. So you need to make the 딱지 by the paper, but the strong 딱지 should be made by the thick paper. If you make the 딱지 with the really thin paper, that means you're not gonna win for the 딱지치기 game. So that like paper tool is a 딱지. So we just called it 딱지. This is the classic Korean street game. When I was young, we just played every time with my friends. So if you were bored in the classroom, we just folded the papers to 딱지 and we played the 딱지치기. The rule is very simple. You threw a folded paper square called 딱지. I'm gonna just say 딱지 from now on. So you just throw the 딱지 to other one's 딱지. So you have to flip your opponent's 딱지 over. That means you win. When you win, you're gonna take that 딱지. So you are gonna have like a several 딱jis in your hands after several times of winning. That means they have to make another new 딱지. There was several tricks like to make it stronger. So we make like steams from our mouths, like and we rubbed on our bodies to make it harder. But honestly, that doesn't work at all. So it's just the important thing is to make the 딱지 by the thick paper. So the best paper I recommend is actually the calendar paper, the calendar to hanging on the wall. So that calendar has really thick papers. That is the best one. If you try this one, you can use it for drinking game as well, honestly. 무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다.
너 움직였어. 너 걸렸어. 일로 와, 일로 와, 일로 와.
That is the 무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다 game. You know that game. So everyone remember this kind of melody or the feeling of the lyrics. So 무궁화 꽃 is the country flower of Korea. So we play this game actually more than 딱지치기. If we have like at least 4 people, we play the 무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다. The one person, you know the 순이. The 순이 is the one who called the 무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다. So you have to move while the 순이 is singing. You have to be frozen right after the song if you move at least one movement. So we just pinking. So we just make this kind of things with the 새끼손가락. This one. 새끼손가락을 걸어야 돼. There will be subtitles. 만약에 걸리면 새끼손가락을 걸고 술래가 다시 한번 무궁화꽃이 피었습니다를 합니다. So we just call it again, and then alivers, they have to cut the pinking to save the people who lost already.
무궁화꽃이 피었습니다.
So if 순이 catch someone, that means 순이 is gonna win. But if nobody can be caught by 순이, I have to call this song again. So it's kind of like a repeatable playing, but at the end, if you keep singing, without touching someone, without grabbing someone, you're gonna be pissed off. So it's very competitive game, honestly. 말이 되나?
많이 되게 만들어야지.
뭐 제대로 설명하고 있는지 모르겠습니다만 뭐 자막으로 대충 때려 맞추시길 바라며. So next game is 달고나. So 달고나 is actually just the sugar candy. So we melt the sugar to make the 달고나, and before it's frozen, we make the shape with the tool of the shapes, like a star, circle, square, triangle, sometimes umbrella, or sometimes I think I saw the Pikachu as well. But honestly, Pikachu, that is a shape to be lost for the players. It's impossible to make the tail with the needles. So if you have a frozen dalgona with the shape on it, you need to prepare one needle. Actually, on the street, if you meet someone who sells the dalgona, they already have the needle. So with the needle, you make the shape, and if you separate all the part of the sugar from the shape perfectly without breaking the shape, you are gonna get one more dalgona. When I was an elementary school student, all the elementary school in front of the gate, there's like 3 or 4 dalgona sellers. So we gathered like a hamster around the dalgona sellers. We just bought selling one with the shape. So sometimes it's for the game, sometimes it was for just the eating. I liked it very much because it's basically made by the sugar, super sweet. And my mom doesn't like it because it's not, honestly, it's not good for your health. This is a really traditional game. It's kind of like a long historical game in Korea because it's a traditional game. And if you are Korean or if you live in Korean in childhood, you must play this one because sometimes we play this one in school called 제기차기. 제기 is the tool with a lot of like strings behind. So this part, the head part is pretty heavy and this part is like fluffy. Sometimes we made this one with the plastic, like a super thin plastic. Sometimes we made this one with the like a leftover fabrics. So there's no strict rule what kind of material to make this part, the light part, because it's only for flying. It's for helping this heavy part to fly very well because you have to kick this heaviest part of the 제기. So 제기차기 is literally means 차기 means kicking. So that is the game to kick the 제기. This is pretty hard to keep kicking the 제기 properly without dropping on the ground. So my highest score was like 4 or 5 when I was in elementary school. But the guys, sometimes like boys, they were really great at 제기차기, so they scored like 30, 40, or sometimes 50. If you are addicted to this is pretty good to kill the time for your playing or exercise. So I recommend this one to the kids. So the rule is simple. Just kick it. Throw into the air, and before it drops onto the ground, you have to kick it and just keep doing this. And if it fell to the ground, that's done. Easy. That is very important skill to play this game. We called it 공기. There's 5 rocks and you play the 공기놀이 with the 5 rocks. You toss one small stone into the air and you just pick the stone one by one. That is the first step. And second step, you pick everything at the first step. You throw the rocks on the ground again and throw the 1 rocks into the air and grab the 2 stones from the ground and hold the stone you threw the air before that drops on the ground. If I never played the 공기 before and if I just hear the rules of the 공기 play, that might be confused. So I'm gonna show you how to play the 공기 after explaining all about this. And the final stage is just to flip over your hands, throw all 5 rocks into the air and make this this kind of shape and grabbing the rocks on your flipped over hands. And if it stayed here, that means the score you can get. But before you get the score, you have to throw them again into the air and hold it all together. If you miss 1 or 2, that means you failed. You have to start again. Like we repeat this kind of stage from 1 to flip over and holding things. So total 5 stage. That is the 1 circle. So we played it like for 10 minutes or for 5 minutes. Sometimes we make the limited time to play. We get the winner who get the highest score within the limited time. We don't call the score, we call it year. So if you hold the 3 rocks at the last stage, we call it 3 years. You get the 3 years. So if we say, okay, let's call the 30 years, and if someone make the 30 year without losing as the fastest, that is the winner. That is the rule to play the 공기. So I will show you how to play later. 꼭꼭 숨어라 머리카락 보인다. You might think like, oh yeah, I think I heard that song in Squid Game, right? So this is the 숨바꼭질. Actually, that's the same, totally same with the hide and seek. But I just want to teach one Korean word. So hide and seek in Korean is 숨바꼭질. 숨바꼭질 is the total word for the hide and seek. So with those kind of games I introduce you, if you meet Korean friends in your country, if you ask them like, do you know this game? I'm pretty sure 99.9999999% of Koreans said, yeah, I played that game when I was young. I really like that game, blah, blah, blah. If you have chance to play this kind of game, I highly recommend to play this game with your friends. Especially 공기 game. That is really good game to play all together with just one table or just with just one clean ground. That's it. I wish you could enjoy the Korean games through the Squid Game and through my contents. I'm gonna bring other Korean contents next time. Bye! So we played the 공기 with this 5 rocks. First stage, one by one.